The attack on MI6 and the assassination of Sir Robert King appears to have been the handiwork of Victor Zokas, also known as Reynard the Anarchist. A few years ago, Reynard kidnapped King's daughter, Electra. I sent 009 to rescue Electra and kill Reynard. 009 shot Reynard in the head, but he survived and is now back for revenge. We anticipate Reynard's next target will be Electra King. She's planning a trip to the Caucasus Mountains to examine her father's oil pipeline. Your mission is to escort Electra to the pipeline and protect her from danger.
007, you excel at destroying my equipment. You'll be without your stunner, since you nearly destroyed it in that fall you took from the hot air balloon. So if I don't have enough to do, I'll have to repair it while you're up in the mountains. Oh, yes, and don't forget that inflatable jacket I made for you. It can protect you from avalanche danger.
James, don't mix business with pleasure. Remember, this is a shadow operation. Shadows stay in front or behind, never on top.
Hello, and welcome to 60 Second Retro Gamer.
I think we've become immune to it now.
Yeah,
I barely flinched.
just barely.
Yeah.
Today, we are reviewing another Bond game.
Da-da-da-da.
It is The World Is Not Enough, or Le Monde Ne Suffit Pas, if you're en français. And it is on the PS1 and the N64. We're reviewing both of them together because they are subtly different games. And we'll go into a bit more detail for that. I am Simon Pryor. Joining me are Rich Hatton and Tremaine. I'm going to stop doing that eventually, I think, because I think by now...
They're probably... Yeah, but there might be new listeners who go, who are these odd people?
Who are these fascinating people that talk at us?
No, I wouldn't go that far.
Is that too far?
People is just, pushing them a little bit.
All right. Who are these fascinating creatures?
That's better.
World Is Not Enough on the PS1 and the N64. Back in the day, I only had it on the N64.
I only had it on the PlayStation.
You had it on the PlayStation. I've recently purchased it on the PlayStation for £2.
Yeah.
Including postage. So,
Bargain.
Didn't have to spend much. And the games are quite different from one another in that they're both based on the same film, but they are completely different. In that the PS1 version has 11 levels, and the N64 one has 14 levels and multiplayer. But the PS1 has clips from the film, voice acting, and a much smoother graphical style than the N64.
Overall, it's the better game by a long shot.
Unless you like multiplayer, in which case someone will say, well, Just Not Enough is the better game.
Yeah, I suppose.
So yeah, in your face, Anthony.
Multiplayer is not the be-all and end-all.
It isn't.
No, I've learnt that over the years. Least of all if it's online.
At least of all these days, where they're obsessed with it.
Yeah. No, I'd never played the N64 one. I thought, oh, I'll give it a go. Hence why I've reviewed both of them, which I have to say was very difficult to fit into a minute. So if the review's quite long, it's my bad. But
I haven't finished the edit yet, so
yes, you have, because they've watched the review.
As we're recording this, I haven't finished the edit.
Oh, you've spoilt it now.
I think people understand how these things work.
You might not.
And if not, then I haven't finished the edit yet.
But
I've killed him.
so I'm just inhaling my own saliva. Excuse me. I played the N64 one, thinking, GoldenEye was 8, so maybe this one will be just as good. And it isn't, by any stretch of the imagination. And the PlayStation one, I was really worried about it after playing Tomorrow Never Dies Again, and it being so god awful in comparison to what I remember it being like. And it was actually ace.
Ah.
It was. I was pleasantly surprised, going, this is actually still. I would play this quite happily now, and have no bugbear against it.
Yeah. Well, the key thing, the story again sort of vaguely follows that of the film. Probably a bit more faithfully in the the PS1 version.
Yeah, it does.
But then there is a bit more to the N64 one, because obviously they're compensating for the fact there weren't any video clips or anything in the N64 one, so they put a couple of extra levels in
yeah.
instead. But it all sort of works out all right.
That was quite nice, I
Yeah.
will admit. I haven't played many of them, but I can imagine that they may have followed... there may have just been extra bits to the levels, because I know there was a couple of levels that were like part 2 of the one before it. and
Yeah,
stuff
they
like
might have put a bit more to the original levels as they were
Yeah.
presented. But they're both developed by different games studios as well. So.
Yeah.
But I mean, case in point, the skiing level on the N64 is completely different to the one on the PS1.
Yes, it's terrible and almost unfairly hard.
Yeah, it's not very good. The
it's-
aiming system doesn't seem to work particularly
No,
well.
I mean, it was just the way, like, I was skiing down this hill, happy as Larry, and it suddenly said, out of nowhere, you have failed to destroy the generator. And it was only then I realised, oh, was that the big red thing I went past, and there was no indication that I had to do anything to it. Like,
Yeah.
nice one. Yeah, don't tell me what I'm supposed to do then, just automatically. And I love the fact that when you fail a mission, you can still carry on.
Yeah.
What's the fucking
For
point?
about a minute after it's told you failed.
Oh, I mean, what's the point in that? Just end the level there.
Just finish!
Yeah, it's
Finish!
The level's bad enough as it is. I don't want to carry on playing it when I failed
No.
it. It's just, they hadn't put any effort into it. To be honest, it just felt like they didn't bother.
Well, talking of not bothering, the voice acting.
Oh, good God!
I mean, John Cleese turned up, but then he'll do anything for the cash, won't he?
Yeah,
So,
I mean, he only turned up in the PlayStation one, which again puts
yeah,
it,
well, there's no voice acting at all because the cartridge can't really support
No.
much.
there
the way of
wasn't the
voice.
cutscenes.
There's a bit of it in
Yeah,
the N64,
It
but
wasn't much.
there's a lot more in the briefings, especially for the
Yeah,
PS1.
but I mean, even
But there's
then,
a really bad impression of Judi Dench, a really bad Moneypenny, and
Samantha
John
Bond.
Cleese.
Yeah, yeah. But I mean, the one thing I will give it though is that the voice acting in the PlayStation one, although still being terrible, was better. The actors actually sounded like they were putting a bit of effort into it. Whereas the
Yeah.
ones in
Tomorrow Never Dies.
no, the N64 one were awful.
I think
like-
it was the same people, to be honest. It's just the audio quality
maybe
was
I don't
lower.
know, but they'd obviously recorded the lines twice
Yeah.
because the voice.
What's the
acting-
point in
What's the point in living if you can't
feel
feel
alive?
alive? Oh, come on, love. Put some effort into it. It was
You
just
don't even sound like Sophie Marceau.
no. It was just in general. It just wasn't a very well put together game. The N64 one. The graphics were bland and boring.
But it did have multiplayer.
Yes, yeah, I'll give it that. It did have quite fun multiplayer, but
It has its moments, I
That
must
was-
admit.
that was the only. That's the only thing that really puts it above the PlayStation one, as far as I'm
It
concerned.
has a
It
bit
just-
of multiplayer.
Yeah, and the music was redone versions of the score from the film.
Yeah.
Which was quite nice, which I class as the best Bond score that I've heard anyway. And it was just the cutscenes were awful as well.
Yeah.
It was just like, oh, is this supposed to be like replicating the film? Because you're not doing a very good job.
Well, one thing about the game as well is it doesn't. One thing we did notice, especially on the first levels, it doesn't spoon feed you with telling you what you're supposed to do.
No,
It's like you had to get past the guard. It didn't tell you how to do that, so you were trying to zap him with your little taser.
yeah,
thing,
with
and
my
that
little
didn't really
phone.
work.
No,
Yeah.
I didn't do it. Fuck all. I tried to
Um,
get in with the high frequency pen,
Yeah.
but that doesn't actually harm them in any way.
No.
In the end,
So-
it turned out I had to shoot them.
Yeah.
I think that's
You have to actually go into the menu, activate the gun,
yeah,
the
Which-
Walther PPK.
which I think was quite good because you had to deactivate it, otherwise it would go off when you went through the alarm.
Yeah.
But it was just. I think that's just from being spoilt with too much espionage games
Yeah.
and going, oh, I shouldn't shoot him because that'll set the alarm off. When in fact, that's exactly what I had to do, was just shoot him and carry on.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It's just it didn't work for me. The N64 one just failed.
I think the one thing that we may do when we do go back and replay it would be to have the N64 version for the multiplayer side and then actually play story mode on the PS1.
Yeah, I think
Do it that way.
that is the main. I mean, the multiplayer was good in Well, in the N64 one.
Yeah.
I will give it that. Even if you play against the AI, it will tend to
Just whoop you.
kick your ass, but that's because it can kill you in one shot. But that's because
It's got the golden gun.
that's because it's the AI, and the AI can cheat
Yeah,
quite easily. But
as it often does.
yes, but against a chum, it's quite fun.
Yeah,
To,
as we found.
yes,
I actually need to get another N64 pad or two so we can have at least a 3-way, maybe even a
Yeah.
4-way.
Mm-hmm.
it was
Be a bit fruity.
yes,
Tutti frutti.
Yes.
Totally. Oh.
Juicy fruits.
But,
Yeah, I mean, overall, I mean, I quite like the look of the PS1 game. I'm willing to play through The World Is Not Enough on the N64 just to see what the differences are. But it's going to take me a bit of time to get used to the controls again because obviously it's a bit fiddly given
It's
it's
a
PS1
bit
era.
fiddly. It was
Yeah.
terrible. Like, oh, I've nudged the stick. Oh, I really cannot aim. I really.
That's
just-
normal, isn't
Well,
it?
yeah, I know, but even more so than normal, I just couldn't hit anything because the aiming system was so touchy fiddly.
Truly diabolical.
Yeah, it was just awful. If I had to compare them, it
To
was
a summer's day.
no, not
No,
quite.
oh,
No, to a rainy day. It would have to be. I think it would be the Tomorrow Never Dies of the N64.
Right.
I'd go as far as to call it that because it didn't work at all. It felt more challenging than it needed to be.
Yeah.
And if that's really if that's the version they class as being the second best Bond game underneath GoldenEye, then really, I worry if that's what people think is a
Yeah.
really good game because it really just wasn't at
Just
all.
wasn't.
Whereas tomorrow, the PlayStation one.
But saying
Get-
that,
get
though, I
the
mean,
words in
GoldenEye is still in retrospect, is a bit ropey. So I mean,
Yeah, but that one, there was something about that really worked. It felt good to play. It felt quite nice, but
it's true to the film.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, that
I
helps as well. Yeah, but this was just sort of like they didn't really try. It just felt like a typical tie-in, whereas the PlayStation one felt exceptional.
Yeah.
For a tie-in, it was like this is really a PlayStation. I mean, it's just the detail on his hand and his gun, which is the main thing you see. Was
I'm quite glad that's all you see.
yeah.
You know what Bond's like.
Bond's member.
Ah.
No, you don't. No,
See, I didn't say it. You went and said
I
it.
went there. I say what people think, and the detail on it was ridiculous, and like, even on the level designs were really detailed as
This
well.
is true.
For a PlayStation game, it was very good, but the N64 was like, here's some smooth-looking tiles that really have no detail to them.
Well, I think with the PS1, it's coming to the end of its lifespan anyway, because it was around 99, 2000 it came out.
Yeah.
And the PS2 was out in 2000, was it?
Yeah.
So,
around that,
you know, towards the end of the natural lifespan.
Which,
of
for
the
it to
PS1
look
anyway.
that good at the end of its lifespan, for them still to put that much effort into it, was impressive.
Yeah.
I'd say. And
Most impressive.
indeed.
That's my favourite Star Wars quote now. It's just, I seem to say it all the time.
But I mean, the only thing that the N64 one has on it is that it has got a few extra levels on it and multiplayer.
Yeah.
That's about it. And
It's not always enough.
the pause menu's a lot clearer than
Yeah.
than the PlayStation one. But that's about it. And it has Motorola. I know
Yes.
Motorola's on both of them
Yeah.
actually. A
But it's
selling point.
branded.
Yes,
branded.
but they had to, I suppose.
Yeah.
But as most Bond films are.
Yes. Product placement.
Mostly with BMW for quite a while, and then
Yeah.
back to Aston Martin. But either way, it just felt tacky, the N64 one, whereas the PlayStation one has aged very well
Yeah.
over time, which is good. Because like I said, I was really worried that it was going to be shit after playing Tomorrow Never Dies again and going, oh, good grief, what's happened here? But it actually worked quite well.
No. All good. I mean, I'd recommend playing it if you're into your Bond games. So it's worth giving it a go.
Yes.
PS1 over N64.
It is the second best Bond game for PlayStation.
The second
1.
best Bond game.
Yes, to GoldenEye. I would go that far. It is very good.
Okay. Well, if you have any questions with regards to our review or want to see any other games reviewed by us, send us an email to info@randomstoke.com or check out youtube.com/randomstoke for all our videos, or just go to randomstoke.com for everything on one website. So, yeah, if you have anything to ask, send us an email to that address. So, thank you for listening if you have been, and we will see you next time. Goodbye for now.